All right, everybody, how's it going? How's it going? Good morning. Happy Saturday. Hope you're all ready for day 5 of the 10 days of Halloween. For those of you that know what this is about, we are doing 10 paintings over 10 different days, although I might have to double up a day or two here to catch up. Uh, sound check, please. Somebody give me a sound check. Make sure that you can hear me okay before I continue talking here. Here we go. Everything looks good on my end. And I can see it streaming on Facebook. Hi, Rose. How's it going? Hi, Patricia. How's it going? How's it going, everybody? I believe that's Joe. What's up, Joe? Anyway, hope you're all ready for day number 5. If somebody can give me a sound check, that'd be great. Just let me know in the comments that you can hear me. Awesome. All right. People are telling me you can hear me, so fantastic. So day number 5 is Toil and Trouble, which is what this little piece right over to the right of me is. And I know there's a little bit of glare on the side of the screen. I've got a light pointing right at the painting, which causes a little bit of glare. I'll try to minimize that if I can. I'm still setting up my home studio, and things aren't perfect yet. So, bear with me as I continue to set things up and get things just right. So, but yeah, I'm not sure why that's there. I've had the same kind of setup at my other studio and didn't have that problem before. But anyway, no big deal, not the end of the world. So we have a little bit of glare on the side. It's not going to be too much of a problem. Rosemary says breaking up a little. Anybody else, if you're, if there's any audio issues in the comments, it should be pretty straightforward. If you do happen to have any audio issues or video issues, exit the session, come back in. Often that fixes the problem. What's happening, Dawn? What's happening? And I realize my screen's moving around a lot. I'm using my laptop to stream this, and as I move, the laptop moves. So then I noticed the other day, and I thought I'd fix that, but it's okay. No worries. I'll try not to move too much. Again, bear with me. I'm setting up my studio at home little by little, so eventually we'll get it all right. All right. So, Toil and Trouble, this awesome little witch piece over to the right that garnered quite a bit of attention. Ended up being a pretty popular piece so far out of the 5 days. It's the one that I've seen has gotten the most attention. So it's going to be a fun little piece. We are going to be painting for about 2 hours. We got the cool little witch here. She's casting some type of spell, creating some type of potion in her giant cauldron here. And our little ghosts here on the edges, it's all open to interpretation. Created this, I wasn't quite sure what the story was. Either she's casting the spell to bring these spirits to help her in whatever it is that she's doing, or these guys are coming upset that she's breaking some type of cardinal rule around witchcraft. So anyway, open to interpretation, but it's a very fun little piece. Let's talk about the supplies for today. When I get to the drawing part of it, when I actually do the drawing part of the witch, I'm going to be using one of these chalk pencils. One's a chalk pencil, and the other one is a watercolor. Okay, either one will work, but they're white. And the reason I'm going to be using white is so that they can come through against the background. If I can't use white, because it may not work, it worked when I painted it, when I did the original. If it doesn't work out, then I'll be using a darker pencil, either a number 2 or a charcoal pencil, perhaps. We'll see. What's happening, Kinkini and Clarine? What's happening, Clarine? How are you? Hello. Welcome to the page today. But we're going to approach this first. We're going to paint in the background. The background's going to be all gray, a combination of black and white for the gray, and then I actually added a little tiny bit of blue and red to create a little bit of a blue. I'll add a little bit of red. I don't have my red over here, so I'll have to grab it here in a second. But blue and red, all down the background is that darkish gray. Comes down to about the bottom part, and then the bottom part's going to have a black and orange combo. And then against that, we're painting in our clouds, in our trees. Our moon has to come into play at some point thereafter, and then come in with the cauldron and the witch. Actually, the green, I'm going to lay down the green a little bit first. Then the cauldron and the witch, we add more of the green, and then we paint in our ghosts, and we'll see where we are at that point. Okay, what's happening? Donna Mullins from Indiana. Hello, Alice. What's happening? Thank you again for joining me. So those are the steps that we're going to be using. So again, I'm going to be using either white chalk or watercolor pencil or dark number 2 pencil. And then, of course, as far as the paints themselves, the colors I'll be using today, some orange, okay, some yellow, okay, orange, yellow, white, some white, some green, okay, got some dark blue. Doesn't really matter too much that it's a dark blue. And then I don't have it over here, but I've got some red that I'm going to be grabbing in a bit. And then some black. Okay, those are the main colors. Now you're also going to be, well, you don't have to use these, but I'm also going to be using some neon colors, some orange and some yellow. These are neons. They're really bright. You don't need to use a black light to see these. These actually, in fact, these are the really bright colors that you see in the image. And the image is a little washed out because of the light that I have directly on it. But under normal light, it really is really fluorescent with the greens and the oranges and the yellows. It's getting washed out, like I said, on my big here over the side. But green, neon, orange, and yellow. Okay, as far as brushes, pretty basics. I have a whole bunch of brushes in my cup here, my empty cup, but mainly you're going to be using, depending on the size of canvas you're going to be painting on. I've got an 8x10 here, but a nice large flat. Yeah, I've got a 1 inch, and this is about 3/4 inch flat. So mainly for that background. Okay, I got a couple of those. Then I've got a few smaller flats. Okay, we got a few of these little guys here. So this is a number 4 flat shader, number 3, number 2, and then supposedly that's a number 2, and that's a number 2. This is more like this one's a little more like a 3, actually. Sorry. So 4, 3s, and a 2. That's what we got. When you put my glasses on. Okay, so these are all suggested brushes. If you don't have any one of these, don't stress out. Use what you've got. I've got a small little liner brush, a little round brush. This is round number 0 for the little detail work. When I paint in the witch, these little small parts. When I draw the little parts of the ghost, some of the parts on the trees, you got these little tiny leaves here and there. I'll be using that. And then, so this is optional. If you have any of these are hog's hair bristle brush or synthetic hog's hair bristle brushes. Yeah, I'm going to be using these guys here. Nice and stiff. The brushes the bristles splay out quite a bit. I'm going to be using these to create the clouds in the sky. Okay, so these are going to help me. If you don't have these, don't worry about it. You can use for those clouds. You can use one of the flats, one of these other flat brushes that you saw. Okay, those will work too. If you're familiar with making clouds, you know that you can use different kinds of brushes to make those. All right, so those are the brushes. As far as miscellaneous supplies, I like to use plates for my palettes. I'll be using a plate. Paper towels, very important. Okay, and I'm painting on an 8x2 inch canvas. What's happening? Tristan 9 and Gabe joining from Colorado. Halloween is our jam. We've enjoyed following along. Fantastic. Thank you, Michelle. And Tristan and Gabe, thank you for joining in today. Absolutely. Halloween is my favorite time of the year. We do a lot of fun Halloween stuff as a family. Talking about extended family. My brothers, my sister, my family. So here's a little bit of black, a little bit of white. And this year I am celebrating. Let me put out a little white. I'm getting the colors prepped for the background. Okay. I am celebrating Halloween with its 10 days of Halloween series. If you missed 1 through 4, those are all still available, and you can catch those by going to the live section on the Painting with Jesse page. You'll see all the previous videos I've done. Those 4 will be in a row, and then of course all the other videos that I've done over the last couple of years will also be there. Okay, So here's what I'm starting with. I need to add a little bit of red here in a second. So I've got some white, some black, and some blue. I'm going to add a touch of red. I'm going to make a mixture. It's going to be a nice purple gray that we're going to be painting into that background. So as you get that ready, let me reach over and grab my red. Give me 1 second. All right, here's my red. Okay, just going to add a little bit of this. You don't need a lot of the blue or the red, just enough to make a purplish background. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big 1-inch flat brush. Okay, this guy right here, pretty big size. Got a little bit of water in it already. Okay, this was sitting in a water cup previously, so got a little bit of water in there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start with the white. I'm going to grab a whole bunch of this white. Okay, I'm going to bring it over to another plate here. Okay, just like that. I'm going to take some black. Same brush, just grabbing some black. I'm going to go like this. Start mixing these colors. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop up some of my blue. About like that, maybe that might be a little too much, so I want to be careful. Then I'm going to grab some red. Okay, again, about like that. Start mixing these up. So what this creates is a purplish gray. What's nice about this is that the purple is a complementary color to the orange and the yellows that are going to be in the clouds. Okay, so that's part of the reason why I added blue and red in here to make a purplish gray to allow those clouds to pop a little bit more. Okay. Now the other thing you're probably hearing me say this quite a bit, especially if you've been joining in on these live sessions, is that acrylic paint dries a little bit darker than when it's wet. So you got this color right now that paint's all wet. When it dries, it's going to be a little bit darker. So just something to keep in mind. You got a touch more black. I should have rinsed out. I should have pulled some of the paint off my brush, squeezed it out with a paper towel. I got a little bit of water dripping down. That's okay. Again, here we go. This is about the color that I want. Okay, here we go. I'm going to use this. Whoops, now I'm going to take a little bit of, a couple of water cups. I use rinse cups here. I got a couple of these cups with a little bit of water in them. I use these to add water to my paint like this. I'm just dipping my brush in the water cup, bring some of that water over. I don't want to add too much water. I don't want to dilute the paint too much. But so I add water to the paint, makes it easier to work with. But I also use the water to rinse out my brushes. So I got a couple of cups. So this is I'm gonna paint this all the way down. And just a little bit. When I'm done with this step, I'm gonna take a look at the comments. Actually, I'm not gonna go all the way down. Go almost all the way down. I'll look at the comments, say hello to some of you. So I know this question is going to come up where you might see it in the comments. Is this being recorded? Sure is. It'll be available immediately after the live session is over, just like the other 4 sessions of 10 days out of that we've done so far. All right, so there we go. There's a good little bit of gray color, purplish gray. Oh, yeah. There we go, Don. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you so much for that. Forgot about that. Much better. Thank you, Don. Who knows how far along I would have gone until I realized, I need to make myself smaller. All right. So I'm doing this out of my garage, as I've already mentioned. If you hear background noise, right now there's some dogs barking in the distance. I'm keeping my garage door a little bit open. That's a cool air in here. All right, next step. What's happening, Hannah? How are you? Been a minute since I've seen you pop on. Are you painting today? Or is it black? Some of this black. What I'm going to do, grab a little bit here of the gray. It's the same gray that I fixed in the background. I'm going to come in here and just paint this in like this. So this doesn't have to be terribly even in color. It doesn't have to be super blended. Okay, so go over to the other side. It's going to be our little base, our floor, our ground. There we go. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of orange. I haven't poured my orange up. Grab a little of this and a touch of yellow. I'm going to take this, my original palette. My palettes end up looking really messy towards the end of our sessions. A little bit of a loose, very loose painter. A little bit of yellow, just a touch. That's probably too much. I'm going to take the same big brush. In this case, paper towel, just kind of blot out some paint. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfectly clean. I'm going to grab some yellow now. A little bit of the yellow. Sorry, orange and a little bit of the yellow. Scoop this up. Mix them together and right in here. Add a little bit of that color right over the top of my gray. This gray black down here. Nothing fancy, folks. Nothing too serious. It's about having fun. A little more orange, maybe. Okay, and that is our base. And the camera on the painting seems to lag a lot. Okay. Is everybody else having that same issue? The camera on the painting lag? What's up, Sherry? The painting seems blurry. Is it just me? Okay, give me a second, folks. Give me a second. Let me make an adjustment. Be right back. How's that looking, folks? Has it changed? It should be a little bit better. One on you is crystal clear. Okay, one on you is crystal clear. I'm not sure why that would be. Give me a second. Okay, so I haven't had any issues with the last few sessions. Not sure what this is. Give me a second. Give me a second. I want to make sure that I'm not getting any interference from. Okay, hopefully it clears up. How's the other one looking? What's the status looking on this one? Is it blurry still? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue. Hopefully it clears up. But if somebody could let me know how it's looking at the moment, that would be fantastic. Okay, Michelle says it looks fine. Okay. It's better, says Marjorie. Okay. Has it been blurry the entire time since I started? Awesome, Hannah. You're painting, huh? Cool. What's happening, Aaron? I'll take a moment to say hello to some of you. Hello from Victorville. What's happening, Elizabeth? Dorothy Hewitt. Hello. Mullins from Indiana. I think I may have already said hello. That's Kinkini. What's happening, Kinkini? Scarlet Letter. Ooh, hi, Scarlett. How's it going? All right. Let me get back down to the bottom of the comments. It's clear now, says Marjorie. Okay. She says I'm catching up. Okay, good, good, good. All right. So hopefully it stays that way. I haven't had any issues the last few sessions, so um, not sure. Not sure quite what's going on. I adjusted my router, just kind of moved it a little closer to the garage. I have an extender and everything. I went out and got all this stuff to make things work a little bit better. But we all know how the internet works. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start adding in some cloud. The background that I've got isn't dry yet. Just okay. I can work on the wet surface. As far as the clouds themselves, I'm going to create them in a couple of layers. This is the first layer that we're going to start with. So what you're going to do is you're going to take some orange and some yellow. Okay, just like what I've got here on my mix plate. I mean on my actual palette. I'm going to bring some of that over to my mix plate in a second. But if you have any of these neon paints, you want to add a little bit. You want to add a little bit to your mix. So we're going to start with acrylic paint. Acrylic paint, if you got neon paints, you add a little bit of that to your mixture. If you don't have it, that's okay. I think it's crucial. We'll also add some of this neon paint towards the end of the session. Okay, just to brighten the clouds quite a bit, make them prettier. So on the mix plate, take some of that orange. I'm going to switch brushes here. So I'm going to grab one of my smaller flats. Yellow. And then a little bit of white. I'm going to add a little touch of white. Touch of white to this mix. Again, I'm making the mixture clear lines. Okay. Then I'm going to take some of my neon paints. Okay, yellow, orange, and yellow. A little bit of that. Don't need a whole bunch. Just adding a bit of it in there. There's my orange. A little bit of yellow. This just adds that extra pop, even if you're not. So neon paints are good when you've got like a black light paint. Using neon paints. However, you don't have to have black lights to enjoy these neon paints. They're brighter. They're more of a fluorescent color. Okay, so we're going to take a little time. I'm going to switch brushes now back over to one of my hog hair brushes. If you don't have these, don't worry about it. Use one of the flats like the one I was just using to mix. Okay, it's like a number 4. It depends on your size of canvas. So I've got an 8x10. A smaller flat is what I'm going to start with. But anyway, these neon paints still will glow quite nicely, even under regular light. So I'm just going to go through here, and as I mentioned, come back and layer over the top of this layer. So I'm just going through and creating these little clouds up in the sky. My background is still a little bit wet. It's going to blend it together, which is perfectly fine. Okay, here we go. Throw my glasses on here. Looks great now. Fantastic. Thank you, Nicole. All right, good. What's happening to Angie? All right, here we go. if you have a blow dryer and you want to dry your background, add in your clouds, you can do that too. I want to turn on some Halloween music, but I'm afraid that's going to cause internet issues. Okay, let me have to see here in a little bit. We're going to add a little moon in here. And you notice I'm holding my brush. I'm just kind of pushing the paint around sideways. Your clouds can look different. Also, if you got a particular way you make your clouds or a different style that you like better, please feel free to change it up. Anything on this piece. You want to change it up? Please do so. So if you notice this really pretty color, I know it's a little hard to tell. I'm looking at the image, it's washed out. Once I get better lighting in here, it won't be as much an issue. But this purple gray background is a really, really nice backdrop for this orange yellow color that I'm using here. Picked up a little extra white by accident, but that's okay. It's so Angie, the background is a mixture of white, black for gray base, added blue and red to the mixture to make it a purplish color. So it's purplish gray. It's hard to tell against if you're looking at just the color by itself, the gray. It's hard to tell that there's any purple. For most people, you look at it and go, "Oh, that's a gray," but it has a purple hue in there. It's a nice contrast, a nice complementary color to the colors in the clouds. Part of the reason why the clouds pop so much on the original. Okay, let me take a bit more of my neon and my little yellow and orange neons. So just grab a little bit of orange and yellow neon. Still got some of that mixture in here, the original mixture. I'm just gonna grab a little bit of this. Neon colors are really transparent. They're pretty see-through. So I typically will go through and use them as an accent over regular acrylic paint. So I typically would paint the base with acrylic paint and then add the neons on top. In this case, I'm mixing the neons with the acrylic, which makes the paint a bit more see-through the base. We'll layer this, and then later I'll come back and add just neon over the top. All right. Now I'm grabbing mostly regular orange and I'm bringing that over top of all of that. So all I'm doing is this, folks. I'm just grabbing orange like this. Same brush, didn't clean it up. The other day when I made the original, I made it here in my home studio, and it was a warm day, so it dried really quickly. Today is a little overcast, and so it's cool. It's a nice day. It's a pretty day, but my paint is not drying quite as quickly. as before. I may have to run in and grab my wife's blow dryer. I haven't brought mine from my studio. Go grab her blow dryer to dry things up so that we could paint the trees over the top of all this. All right, let me go ahead and do a little bit of a little bit of blending. Just a, so this is the first layer. Okay, this is the first layer of paint. We'll come back and add more paint over the top of this. Even in between, so if we put the trees in, we'll come in and add color right in between. I'm going to take a bit of orange, a bit of the neon orange and the regular orange in here. I'm going to close my garage door too, just a second. So we'll be drawing the witch in a cauldron freehand. For those of you that want to use the stencil, have a stencil available. Use it for download of that. Okay. Picture was blurry, says Clarion. Gosh dang it. Okay, let me see this. How's the picture looking, folks? Clarion says it looks blurry. If I stop painting, how's the picture look? Okay, let me know. If I stop painting, how does the picture look? And if I start painting, does it get blurry when I start painting? So let me do this. Let me do this. So weird. This is a little frustrating, folks. I apologize. We're gonna just keep. We're gonna keep. We're just gonna keep chugging away. This is a bummer, but I don't see a reason to stop. I think for the most part, you can get what I'm doing. Not sure why it's blurry today. If I stop painting, how does it look? So right now I haven't reached over. I don't stick my hand in the way. How does the picture look? Cloudy, patchy clouds. Um, but does it look like that if my hand's not in the way? So when my hand's not in the way, it looks perfect. It looks good. Cloudy when painting. Okay. So what's happening then is that for some reason, my camera over here is focusing on my hand when I start painting. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It hasn't been doing that these last few times that I've been painting. Okay, mostly good when I'm not painting. What a bummer. Okay, I'm going to try my best to avoid putting my hand in the way as much as I can, or I'm going to have to do it so that I get really, really close to the chem. So again, my apologies. It's blurry more so when you paint. Okay, I'm going to go get my wife's blow dryer. In the meantime, I'm going to see if there's anything else I can do on the internet, and then you know go from there. Okay. So give me just a moment. I'll be right back. All right, everyone. So hopefully, I forgot my blow dryer. Hang on a second. All right. Maybe that little break gave everyone a chance to catch up. Hopefully, it's looking better. Hopefully, it improves. We will see. Again, I don't see a reason to stop unless you guys tell me things get really bad. Then we'll have to stop and continue another day. But let me know, folks. Let me know what it's looking like right now. So I've got my blow dryer, my wife's blow dryer here. Let's go ahead and dry this up. No reason to stop. There we go, Don. That's the spirit. All right. So just took a moment to dry things up. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and add another layer of paint to the clouds. Instead of painting the trees and then adding the paint in between the trees, I'm just going to go ahead and add the paint now. So same colors, okay, same oranges and yellows with a little bit of white. Again, I'm if things continue going okay, or if things improve rather, maybe I'll turn on a little bit of Halloween music. Facebook approved Halloween music. It's what I envisioned doing with this 10-day series, but since I moved my studio and everything's a little bit, sensitive. I don't want to. I don't know that I want to take a chance and cause more problems. But so I'm gonna try and stay close to my canvas with my hand, and hopefully it doesn't cause anything focus issues. Keep me posted. Let me know if either way. If things are looking good, say, hey, Jesse, things are better. If things are not looking good, let me know. So this is all in the background, right? Once I've painted the trees and everything in the front of this, these clouds will tend to become part of that background. Your eyes won't focus on as much. That's pretty much what we want. Now, I also noticed that in the original, a little bit more here in between the center, kind of center-ish area. And even though we're going to have trees covering up a lot of this, also music would mask that barking dog or two that I hear in the background. Okay, come down in here. This background, the colors that I'm adding to the floor don't have to be super specific. I'm also got a little more shadows in here a little bit later, so just throwing in some of these colors here and there. Okay. Now let me take my blow dryer to this once again. And I think we can start on our trees. Here we go. Oh, that just broke my wife's. Oh no. I might have just broken this. Okay. Well, there's one more thing I'm going to have to fix. I broke the wife's blow dryer, the button. I pressed a little too hard. Alrighty then. Okay, I don't think I'll be needing the blow dryer too much more anyway, but yeah, the show must go on. Okay, so there's our background. What we're going to start with now is those trees. We're going to start with trees over here. Trees and the little leaves that you see, the foliage you see off in the distance. That color is primarily black with some orange. Okay, I use the orange to tone down the color of the black, make it a little bit more of a washed out black. Whenever I paint stuff that's further in the back, I like to wash that out of it, make it a little bit less intense. Stuff in the front, trees in the front, get more intensity, more of an actual black. Okay, by combining those colors like that, by creating the trees in the distance, making those a little bit more grayish. I'm gonna lower the intensity of this light, see if that makes a difference too. Not so much with just with the glare. Maybe you can see a little bit better this way. I don't know. Okay. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of orange. Okay, a little bit of orange like this. Just the basic orange. Maybe throw in a tiny bit of yellow. Not that that's going to make too much of a difference. But again, I'm creating the mixture for the trees and the foliage off in the distance. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of black. Same brush. Whoops. Let me switch up using. I'm using the hogshead bristle brush, and I don't want to use that one right now. So a little bit of black, okay, like this. So what I'm doing again is creating more of an off black color. This orange and yellow is gonna make this more of a gray black, a deep gray black. Okay. But when I apply this to that background, I don't need a lot of paint to do this. Actually, I'm going to take a little bit more orange. When I add this to the background, okay, I don't use a lot of it. I'll start with those trees way off in the distance, and I'll know here in a second if this is going to work. And by that I mean, is that the color that I want? And that's pretty good. It's pretty close. Okay, I'm just using the skin part of my brush right now. Okay. There we go. Maybe another one over here. Okay, so I might go up a little high like that. Okay. You could also use a little bit of water to reduce some of the intensity. Dip your brush in some water, add water to your mixture, and that also is going to help. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the brush, and some of that little foliage that you see up on top, I'm just going to add that first. And all I'm doing is dabbing my brush, corners of my brush, moving that around. I'll add some of my trees, my trunks, branches will be moving through some of this. The order doesn't matter too much. I can add the trees first, the trunks, and then this foliage. Okay. All right, here we go. Skinny part of my brush. All of these little trees a little further back. Foliage down here. I'm going to work quickly through this. If any of this gets too intense, too dark, I can use paper towel to dab. No, it's okay. What is it? No, I told everybody that there's all kinds of noise in the background. It's the wife coming in to see if it isn't too loud in the background. There's something, there's a truck or something else. Okay. So I can dab any of this. Any of this is too intense. I can just dab it. A little less intense. And again, I'm going to start working through this a little more quickly. There's like a cement truck or something that's out there. Weekdays are a lot quieter, is what I'm noticing. Show must go on, everyone. 10 days of Halloween can't be stopped. Can't be stopped. Anyway, hope you're all enjoying the sessions. Again, we are number 5. Last, let's see, yesterday was number 4. I think it was yesterday. I lose track of time. I believe number 4 was yesterday. Yes, it was last night. Okay, let me add some more trees now. Again, the trees, all these trees further toward the back are going to have less color. They're going to be a little lighter. It moves towards the front. I can take a little bit more black. Like this big branch that's over here on the side, I can take a little bit more black. What I'm doing is grabbing a little bit, bring it over. I can mix a little bit of the original color in there, just a bit. But here we go. This big old tree that's over there. I was mentioning the other day that every time I make a change to my processes, or the way I do things, it requires adjustment. There's like an adjustment period. I used to do. I used to live somewhere else a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and I had in 2020. So a couple of years ago, I used to do mostly. I used to use one camera from that studio, my home studio. And a learning curve to learn how to do all that. Excuse me. Then when I went to two cameras, so I got all that streamlined when I was doing one camera. Then I went to two cameras, and that was a period. There's a period of transition. Now I've moved my home studio back home, and moved my studio back home, and here we go with more of another set of transition learning curve that I'm gonna have to deal with. Okay, let me switch. I'm gonna switch brushes here. I'm gonna grab a smaller flat one that has a little skinnier profile. Okay, here we go. Let's pick it up. Let's see, more trees over here, more branches. I've got a round brush here in a bit, pointy brush to make more of these little trees over here. Got one right here somewhere. Okay, over here. Now a lot of this is going to get covered up by the witch, and the mist, magic stuff that she's creating. So not too stressed out. Okay, don't stress too much about having perfect trees there because a lot of that's going to get covered. You can also be really strategic. If there's an area down here that you're not liking, you can add a bit more of that mist to cover it up, or you can move that mist around. Let's see here. Trying to see if there's any new comments there. There, I'll read those in just a bit. All right. Let's continue over on this side now. These are a little closer now. These trees are a little closer, so I'm going to make these a little darker. Okay, we're working on this tree right here. Got little branches. What's happening, Rachel? So I just switched over to a little round brush, a little pointy one to add some of these little tiny branches. So these trees over here are a little more in the foreground, so a little darker. One way to create depth. Using my finger here, I press it right up against the canvas. Let's see. That one needs a little more color. So for those of you that are newer to painting, if you're new to painting with me, as I often tell people, you may have heard me say this, but you'll learn a lot by simply watching. You don't have to. You won't necessarily get everything from listening to me. A lot of it is also from watching. Okay, so watch how I hold the brushes. Watch how I move my hand, my wrist, where I hold the brush. Most of my brushes are medium, medium length handles. Short handle, short length. There's medium. Camera forward and add more foliage. Let's get down over here. So using my switched over to my hogs here. Got a little bit of a maybe bushes or just a shadow area down here. Get over here. Gonna grab mostly black right now. Base. Today's a struggle, but we're gonna get through it. It seems that things have stabilized with the internet, so hopefully that is the case. But all right, more foliage up on top. Okay, back in here. You can also use Q-tips, a cotton ball for this stuff over here. Working this stuff in with the brush can be a little tedious. But you just work quickly and you'll be all right. All right. Video's good, says Don. Fantastic. So just dabbing, moving kind of quickly. We'll add more trees here in a bit. Create a little more density in here. Back over to this side. Just making some more of my foliage color, folks. Switch brushes here. A little small flat. Okay, let's add a few more little trees. Hold on, blend out some of my foliage a little bit. That's so this stuff is off in the distance. You're not going to get a lot of detail off of it. Okay, so there are a few little leaves that I add, like here in the foreground. Here, just a little tiny bit. You don't need a lot of that. All right, a few more little trees, more branches, and then we're moving on back to my round brush. Oh, I got my orange apron on for Halloween. Get into the spirit. I was thinking candles and all sorts of stuff when I envisioned this series. Next year, maybe next year. Still a lot of fun. It's been fun. I'm enjoying myself. I was mentioning last night that I forced myself to create more quickly. For those of you that are in my membership, you often hear me talking about how, one of my biggest challenges is getting the calendar out early enough. And the reason behind that is that I got to make all this content. I got to just, it's all original work that we create that I'm making here. For the most part, in the membership, it's all original work. On occasion, I'll do like a Peanuts or some kind of cartoon character that familiar cartoon character, but for the most part, the work is original. Coming up with the concepts can be a little tricky. So for this series, I've had to work a lot more quickly. It's forcing me to make decisions and just decide and go. So it's a good thing, besides it being lots of fun. So all I'm doing right now is outlining some of these trees, creating a bit of density by making some darker than others. The idea is that the darker ones are going to be, further forward. But anyhow, yeah. So maybe next year I'll have all kinds of really cool stuff happening, candles and ambiance. Like I said, I love Halloween. All that, glow in the dark and neons and all that cool stuff. I may end up. I'm planning on doing some night stuff. With the way the internet's going, man, I do some night stuff in the backyard. At least I was thinking I was gonna do it in the backyard. Now I'm going, maybe not. Maybe not so much. But all right, gonna grab a really small bit, a small number two flat here. And I'm just gonna come in here and I gotta the on the new painting, my background color, my foliage back here, especially on this side, is a little bit too uneven. I don't know what the word is. It's not. It's more blotchy. This over here. That's a little more controlled. I tried to do this a little faster because of the issues we're having. It didn't come out quite right. So I'm going to offset that so that it pulls people's attention away from all of that. I'm going to come in here and add more actual leaves here to the foreground. This is going to draw attention away from that stuff in the back. So there's different ways to do this stuff. Sometimes when things don't quite turn out the way you want them to, changes, and you got to roll with the punches. So right in here, I'm going to add a couple more intense little branches, again, drawing attention away from that mess in the back. Not a mess, just not quite right. Okay, kind of same thing by making these trees in the front a little bit more intense. I remove attention from that stuff in the background, and that's what I want. Okay, now just watering down my paint a little bit more. Just a bit more here. Little trees back in here, the ones that are off in the distance. You want to start with these little trees that are off in the distance, but again, sometimes you got to make adjustments and corrections. And Things are looking better. Okay. Leaves. If you fall behind, you can come back and finish with the recorded session, or you can pause things. Up, forward, all that good stuff. All right. All right, there we go. So that's a little bit better, a little more, to what I was looking for. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put in our little moon, and then we're going to move down here, add the green to that bottom. And we're gonna start picking things up a little bit more. My moon is going to be a yellow, a combination of yellow, a little bit of white, and some white. Now, a good brush for a moon is a small filbert. I like using something like a number 4, number 5, number 3 filbert because they're nice, small, rounded brushes. Now, I don't have any filberts that small in my home studio. Once I transition everything over to my house, to make it a little easier. So I'm going to stick a small little square brush, right? One of my flats. So again, combination is white, a little bit of white, a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow. Mostly yellow and white, but a little bit of orange mixed in, especially for the base. If you're planning on making your moon darker, like with a more orange color, stick with, for the first coat layer of paint, you want to stick with plenty of white. Let that white be your base, and then you're going to paint over the top of it. Now, if you're not, actually, I'm going to switch to an even smaller brush. I'm going to grab my round here. So if you're not going to, if you don't want to do your moon freehand, you can take something round, like the cap of a paintbrush, paint bottle, to make your circle. Okay, now this moon is much smaller than that. I'm going to make little adjustments to it. So I started a little small. You can start slowly increasing the size till I get it to where I want. Now, as I'm going, oops, I'm trying not to block you guys. As I'm going, I'm also fixing the roundness of the moon. I go a little bit at a time because it's very easy to make the moon much larger than what I want. Fill it in. And then go, okay, do I want it a little bit bigger? Sure. Why not? Okay. A little bigger than that. We're almost there, though. You notice I'm using my finger here. I'm stabilizing my hand by putting my pinky right up against the canvas. Now, all this is dry, so all this is dry, so I can do that. Okay, that's about maybe a little larger. Whoops. Let me know in the comments, are you freehanding your moon, or are you using, something to trace it out with? And I'm just taking a little bit of yellow in there, a little bit of orange. The moon's going to take a couple of layers of paint. So this is the first one. We'll let this dry a bit before we come back and do anything else. Okay. All right. Moving on. A little bit of green, a little bit of white. Okay. A little bit of green and a little bit of white. Coming down here to the bottom to create our mist, our spell magic, whatever it is she's doing down there. Okay, let's see. A little spot on my plate. So a little bit of green. Okay, a little green right there. A little bit of white. I already have white on my palette here, so scoop up some white and green. For this first first color, I don't add any neon to it. I could. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit. But it's going to be a washed out greenish color. I want there to be, so this color here, no, I changed my mind. Back to what I was the original, not adding any neon to this yet. This is my base color. This is what you see off in the background of it. Okay, out there. Okay, and then the neon comes in later. Okay, so just cleaning up my brush a bit, using my little flat. This is a number 2 flat. I'm just going to come in here and there's going to be a cauldron in here. There's going to be a witch. This is my base color. And all I'm doing is kind of spreading this around. The mist comes out this way. Comes out this way like this, floating around. When I draw that witch, I'm going to be using a dark pencil. I just against all this stuff, you're not going to be able to see her if I do her in white. Remember what I was saying with the mist, you can be strategic. If there's any parts of your trees that you're not happy with, you can use this stuff to cover that up. If some of your trees are a little too wide or they don't quite look like trees, you can mask them a little bit, move them up with some of this. Again, you draw attention away from your trouble spots. You start with an idea, you can start with a plan, and then sometimes as you're going along, things don't quite work out. You use the wrong brush, use the wrong mixture of paint. Maybe your wife's blow dryer breaks in the middle of a painting. You got to make adjustments. You don't necessarily have to go through and erase anything that you're not happy with. You can cover it up a little bit. So just take my mist, and again, I'm just dabbing here, and bring it down. I don't have to match my original painting exactly, right? It can be quite different if I wanted to. Of course, I'm guiding you along when you're creating it, so I want to stick close to the original, but for most of you, you're going to create something a little different. Your own versions of this, even if you're trying to match this close, again, your brushes, your paint, all that stuff is going to make a big difference. It plays a role. You get similar results, but the results will vary. What's that they say in the commercials and disclaimers? The results will vary. Okay, I'm going to come down here like this. This lighter stuff, if you manipulate it right, it looks like it's this greener mist dissipating and losing power, let's say, as it gets off into the distance. Grab a bit of water. So I just dip my brush in water. I'm going to do this. Nice watered down paint. for this kind of off stuff off in the distance. Okay, so that's a good start to that. Next, we're drawing. Okay, we're gonna draw some stuff. Got my brush, my number 2 pencil here. So this number 2 pencil is all I'm gonna use. See, no, I'm not gonna draw my ghost. I'm just imagining where my ghosts are gonna sit here. Okay, and we're gonna give this a little time to dry. This is pretty fast. It's really thin coat of paint, so it should dry pretty quickly. What else can I be doing over here? Are there any little adjustments that I can make? Oh yeah, up on top, I'm gonna grab, just making some touches to my trees as that stuff on the bottom dries. Need some branches up here. Okay, let's see. Day 6 will likely be Monday, maybe even day 7. As I mentioned, I'm gonna have to double up some of my days. Halloween's right around the corner. And I've got to get my membership calendar going too. All right, let's do a little bit of drawing. Let's start with the cauldron. Now we can start with the witch. We can start with the cauldron. Doesn't really matter. The cauldron sitting, can sit right about the middle of your canvas. Mine's not quite in the middle, maybe slightly right of center, but doesn't matter too much. Again, be strategic if there's anything you want to cover up, areas that you want to mask a bit. Use that to guide your placement of your cauldron. So all I'm doing is the top part right now. So let's take a look at it real quick. We got the opening, and has a little angle to it on the edges. We got the body of it, this kind of rounded shape. And then we've got a couple little feet down there that you can't see. Actually, for the cauldron, I'm going to have to use white. Let me try this real quick. I'll give you a close-up, folks. We're going to have to use a pencil, and then I'll use a brush here to go over it in a second. So here's my body. Nice little roundish shape. Okay, we can close it off at the bottom here like this. A couple little legs. So when I did the original cauldron, I did not sketch it out with pencil. I just painted it right. Pretty basic shape. You can see that right there. Okay, little legs right there. Nice oval shape for the body, and you got your lip for the open. Okay, now, which is going to be a little trickier for me to show you, but we'll work at it a little bit at a time. Hey Angie, have you tried to follow along with any of the freehand drawing stuff that I've done? I'm just curious. you want, if you want to try and improve your drawing skills, I would often tell people do the. You can try freehand first on a scratch piece of paper, and if you don't like it, no worries. At least you got some practice in. Okay, and then use the trace for the actual painting that you're working on. Let's take a look at our witch. Nice and skinny. Okay, nice and skinny. Her, you know, not looking at all the main features like the hair sticking out, her nose or her mouth. This is where her head's going to sit. Kind of ovalish shape to the head, a little bit in here, like this. Imagine the head's in there somewhere. She's got her neck down to the torso. The torso here. We're not worried about the arms. And then we got her lower half. Okay. Now, her knee, this is about where her knee is right, lines up right about where the lip of the cauldron is. Now, I don't want to get too close, so I'm going to put the knee right about there. Just it's a little marking I can use to identify what parts of it which are going to be. So I'll start with the bottom. So there's the knee. Comes down, nice and easy. And then to this little area down there where her feet would be. Okay, where she's standing on something. So her dress is kind of over the top of that. But this kind of goes back a little bit. So point. Okay, does this, comes up. I'll give you a close-up in a second. Now, I know I'm going to paint over my pencil lines. Okay, to cover them up, I'm going to paint over them. So, and when I do that, sometimes it'll make my objects a little wider, it'll make them larger. Okay, so I want to be careful. I don't make the drawing too wide because when I paint over it, my image is going to get even larger. Okay, close-up is coming up. So here's the back part. This is maybe where her butt is, and then up into her back. Okay, so the knee is here. There's a little curved part right here. It's a little higher up in the knee. So if that's knee, that knee is here, that curved part would be right up over here somewhere. Okay, and then let me do this part in the white. Okay, the kneecap goes into her waist, and that comes up a little bit. Bottom of the dress comes back into a little point and goes back up. Okay. Here's her kneecap. This can be where her butt is, goes into her back. Okay. It goes up like this through her back. Now, where is her head going to be? We've got the arms and the shoulder right here. The arms are here. There's a shoulder here. There's a little bit of an area for the neck, and then the head. Okay, so we're not going to worry too much about the head just yet. We're not going to worry about the hair either. We're going to come up through the back and then up into the head. Okay, so back, up through the back. This is about where the hair would be. Okay, up into where right about here, right in there. Plenty of space. How tall is my original witch with the hat and everything? Okay, are we getting close? Let me paint what I've got so far. Okay. A little bit at a time, folks. A little bit at a time. Everybody's witch is going to look a little different. Some of you are going to have a really skinny, tall witch. Maybe some of you are going to have a little bit of a shorter, wider witch. All good. Okay. I'm gonna add. This is going to go up into her chest. Okay, up to the shoulder, and then back. We're just going to go like this. So the arms are going to be in here somewhere. That's what we got so far. Already looking kind of spooky. Back part of my witch goes like that. Okay. No head there yet. We're gonna go ahead and add her neck. It's gonna be about right here. If you're using the stencil, no worries, perfect. Okay, there's where her neck would be. I'm not worried about the nose and the mouth or the chin just yet. I'm gonna go straight up to her forehead. Okay, just gonna go back a bit and then back down. Okay, her hat's gonna be right here. You can go ahead and put in her hat. Goes up, curls back, curls down. Kind of does that. We'll make adjustments to the hat in a bit, but let's draw in her nose. Nose and then her chin. Okay. Nose, her crooked nose and her pointy chin. There's her neck. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill all of this in just to make her easier to see. We have no hair in there yet. We have no arms. We have her neck and her shoulder. If I do this, you're going to have a little bit of an easier time seeing what I've got here. So this is tricky. This is the tricky part if you're doing this freehand. Okay, but kudos to you if you're giving it a shot. And if you're using the stencil, no worries, that's okay too. You know, I do encourage people to learn how to draw, especially if you're planning on sticking around and painting for a while. It will enhance your ability to see things. Even if drawing isn't something that you generally like, if you like to paint, it's color in the hat. Like to paint, learning to draw will enhance your ability to see things within your paint in your painting. Okay, I'm gonna draw a little bit of hair now. Strands of hair coming out the back. Okay. She's shaping up. Okay. Now the whole arms. The arms. Things are about to get a little tricky. Let's grab my pencil. Okay, we're gonna come out from the shoulder, maybe a little lower. A little space there in between her face and arm. Here's her little shoulder sticks out, her arm comes out. Now this hand kind of comes up. It goes down and then comes up. I don't need to add in the fingers just yet. I can add those in with the paint. I'll add them with the pencil, but a little bit at a time. Okay, there's that first arm. I'm going to be adding fingers to this. That's her palm, or the base of her hand. Finger goes up. Nice and skinny. You're going to look a little bit like spider's legs. Okay, 4 fingers on that hand that you can see. 1, 2, 3, and then this one crooks back the other way. These all kind of crook down, and this one crooks back the other way. Okay. One step at a time. Remember, folks, you can pause the video, you can pause the stream. Other arm. Let's see, this one's going to end up about here. So I'm just going to mark that off now. The base of the hand goes up a bit and goes back. Okay, give me a second. I'll give you a close-up. Little bit at a time. Okay. That hand. Fingers. Okay. She's got long, gnarly fingers, gnarled up fingers. Her hands kind of like spider. 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, 4. And then let's paint her hands. Little tiny brush. I'm using my small brushes, very important. So you can stay within the lines. A little bit of water with the paint. So it's just black paint. And I mix it. Take my brush, I dab it into the water. And that water makes it a lot easier to paint the skinny stuff with. Anytime you draw something, especially if you're new to drawing, break it down a little bit at a time. Big parts first, and then add the little details. Trying to do it all at once, it can be a little overwhelming. Okay. All right, this witch here is a little bit wider than that one, a little bit. Maybe makes her look a little shorter, a little squat. That's okay. It still works out. I'm going to add on her shoulders here, on her dress. She's got a little bit of these little things hanging off of it, like tattered clothing, tattered sleeves. All right. There we go. There's our witch. See, let me see if I'm missing anything. Again, she's a little bit wider than the original over there, and that's okay. Fix this a little bit. Okay, we're going to let all this dry a bit. I'm going to come back, add another layer of paint to the moon. Painted the ghost. Ghosts are easy. And final touches. Okay, a little bit of white once again. Yellow and orange. Right here. A little touch of orange. And I'm going to need a little more yellow. Give me a second. Hi, Leslie. It sure will. Thank you, Leslie. Yes, the video will be available immediately after. As soon as this recorded session's over, or the live session's over, the recorded session will be immediately available. So you can jump on and watch it. Just go to the live. If you're looking for any of the recorded sessions, just go to the live tab at the top of the painting with Jesse paint. See it right there. All of the videos in this series, this is number 5, are right there. Okay, just painting in the moon carefully. Again, we're letting that witch dry a bit before continuing. Maybe grabbing a little bit of just white now. I'm going to come here across the top, maybe lighten this up a bit. Okay. Ghosts, just white, round brush. Okay, clean it up. God, Leslie, my pleasure. White paint. We're gonna actually, it's gonna be a little bit of white with a little tiny of just a smidge of black. For a little smidge of black, I just grabbed a tiny bit of black there on the brush, a tiny bit. Put it right there. Little tiny bit of blue, right there. Okay, now I'm using my original palette to mix things. Mix the blue and the gray, black, with my white. Maybe a bit more black. I can mix this up. Doesn't have to be perfectly blended, okay? Just a grayish white here. So I got a little ghosty down here. This guy's right in here. And you can be a little transparent, right? It is a ghost. You can see some of the colors in the background coming through. Perfect. You got a good ghosty there. Okay, you can also add a little bit of water to your mix just to make it a little bit more see-through. Come over here. Again, be strategic. If there's anything in your painting that you wanna draw eyes away from. I'm not too happy about this here. That's that here. Got a little ghosty right there. I may even do long little, rounded heads, right? Kind of a typical traditional looking ghost. Down here. How's the video feed, everybody? Are we okay now? Okay, ghosty number 2. Ghosty number 3. All right, I want that ghosty right there. I kind of like all this. I'm sure. Let's keep it. This one's tail turns up a little bit. Questions, everyone? Does anybody have any questions for me? Any comments? Anything? Especially if you're newer to painting. Questions about it? Okay. Next one. Right over here. Where am I going to put this guy? Right. Change this guy's trajectory a little bit, maybe. No, we'll keep him here. So again, this painting is kind of open to interpretation. I made this piece. I was like, well, what's the action? What is happening? This witch over here is casting a spell. She's brewing something. It's evil. It's bad. Is she conjuring up these ghosts? Is she, she conjuring up these ghosts against the will? They look scared. They look scary, scared. They look panicked. Maybe they're, yeah, she's bringing them, she's conjuring them up against their will, or she's doing something against the rules of magic, and they're terrified. Oh no, what is she doing? Stop. That's what I was thinking when I was making this. Okay. Now I'm going to take the black. Oh, the cauldron. Let's paint that cauldron in really quickly. Because we're going to have to come back. Paint around all of this in. The green. Make sure this is dry by then. Okay, there's the legs of the cauldron. A lot of this is going to get covered up with mist, so I'm not too concerned. Talk about the little feet at the bottom. I can see a lot of that. Okay, Angie, sounds good. Newer to painting, I need 101 drawing lessons. I hear you. So just about every painting I've ever done with Jesse, and almost 100% of all the ones I've ever done in the membership have a drawing component, kind of like the witch. This one was a little harder to see because of all the colors in the background. So there's easier ways, or paintings that are easier to draw along with. But anyway, yeah, all the ones that are in the series have a little bit of a drawing component too. So there's a little bit of black. I want to pick out a bit with some white. I want a really dark gray. Maybe it's more appropriate to call it an off black. This color. You use this for like the mouth. This elongated mouth. And eyes. Okay, again, they look kind of petrified or sad or all of the above. Can't wait what you guys create around this. So please don't forget to share. Those of you in my membership group, please post your pictures in there. I'm loving seeing what you guys are creating around these session bars, Halloween sessions. Get over here. Okay, those two are facing the other way, so you can't see their faces. At least you can't in my painting. Okay, before we add the green mist at the bottom, the fluorescent green mist, look around a little bit. Always assess your painting. I'm gonna add a little bit more glow up here to the clouds as well. So just a little bit. Just gonna fix up some of my background leaves that are the ones that are off in the distance. I've got some watered down paint here, mixture of black and orange. Just touch up some leaves. Some foliage off in the distance, make them look a little bit more like the original. Some of them are a little too jagged. There we go. Using a round brush for this little step. A little bit better. Okay, before we do the green mist down here, I'm going to add some neon. We're getting close to being done, folks. Despite the glitches, despite the mishaps, we're getting it done. So back to my neon, yellow and okay, a little bit of orange and yellow. Need to grab my hog's hair bristle brush also, although it's not important in this case, it doesn't have to be. I do this with yellow, a little bit of orange. Again, we're working with just the neon. Come in here and dab here and there. Don't want to cover up my trees with that. Between my trees, I'm not trying to get this color everywhere. Just a few select spots over here towards the middle of things. switching brushes. Going to grab just a regular flat here. Tackle on bristle brush. Most of the that I've been using are. I could have added this before I added my ghost. A little easier, that's okay. We still works out. Just adding here and there between my trees. All right. Okay. Mist down below. Neon green. All right, so we still got a few people left on the feed. Fantastic. Thank you for sticking around as long as you did, despite the challenge at the beginning of the session. I'm sure probably many of you that were here at the beginning couldn't stick around through the entire session. So a little bit of neon green is going to be used here in a second. I'm actually mixing my green and my yellow a little bit. This new green that I'm using is not as bright as the one I used on the original. Okay, so I want to lighten it. So that's the original. This is the green that I pulled out of the tube. Mixing it over here with yellow neon, so it brightens up and looks more like the original. All right, here we go. So right over the top of most of that mist. Also her face, I'm going to paint in her face a little later here, just a bit. And you can twirl. Just switching brushes here. I hear you, Don. Cool. Yeah, definitely. This was a long one. If you're running out of energy, all good. Finish when you can. If you don't finish today, if you finish now, cool, fantastic. So now just grabbing a round brush. What I'm going to do for her face, I'm going to take a moment to do this. Take a little bit of the regular green. Okay, and then I'll little bit of the black. Right on her face. Her face is actually I have a little smidge of white too, just a smidge of white to the mixture. Whoops, not orange, white. Green, black, and a little tiny bit of white. So her face is going to be green. Very, very kind of a muted green. Her face is glowing in all of this. Then I'm also going to take a bit of the neon right here. Maybe on her dress a little bit. All right, back to the neon. We're on the cauldron here. You got it, Alice. Yeah, it's got its challenges for sure. Absolutely, take your time. We're almost done here, everyone. Just find little touches, a little assessment right towards the end, and then we call it done. Almost done. Oh, hold on. What's that? Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Sorry, folks. Just it's okay. There you go. Just having a little conversation off camera. It's all good. Okay, so final touches here. As you layer the neon, if you're using neon, if you're not using neon, then you're just making you can make really light mixture of green and yellow. So make something kind of close to this. You can let this dry, let it intensify, or let it dry a little bit, and add more to intensify the effect a bit more. It actually needs a little more right here. A little too much. We'll take some off. It is, Donna. It is. Lots of little things. Lots of little things. This one is most definitely, it's been in a series. The next ones, I think I'm going to tone it down a bit, make them a little bit more general, generally, general painter friendly, let's say. So this one will probably be the most complex one we've done. I've an idea for a surprise one, but it won't be as it'll be a little more on the complex side, but it won't be like this. This one is definitely the most complex one we've done. And again, I'm probably not going to go this difficult again. The hard ones, and I say this a lot. I say lots of things. I repeat a lot of things. As an instructor, as a guide, obviously we're going to repeat a lot of our messages. But the hard ones are the ones where you learn the most. Even if you create something that you're completely not happy with, they're the ones. As long as you stick it through to the end, as long as you push yourself, you don't give up. Just grin and bear it if you have to. You're going to learn quite a bit because you're pushing your abilities. And even if it's not apparent in that one that you learned something, on the next ones, especially if you go back a little bit, you'll find that oh well, this is easier than I'm having an easier time painting than what I used to. And that's because you take some hard challenges. So the easier challenges become easier. Eventually, as long as you continually push yourself, you don't have to push yourself in every painting. It can be a little stressful, unfortunately, to do so, right? But if you push yourself periodically, once every 3, 4, 5 paintings, you're almost guaranteed to get better. It's just how this works. But it's those harder ones and experimentation. Experimenting with techniques, just kind of trying stuff. That's where you're going to improve. You're going to see lots of improvement. People shy away from difficult ones, but then if you're looking to improve, you're hindering some of your growth by doing that. So just something to think about. Yeah, difficult ones, especially if you're not there, can be unpleasant depending on your mindset. But if you take the approach that you're going to learn no matter what, you'll be good. You'll be just fine. And that's the way to look at it. That you're going to learn. Okay. All right. So before I call it done, and I'm not calling it done today, I'd like to assess. Done for today's session. I'll assess the session, look at it, and go, okay, how are things looking? Is there anything missing? Is there something I need to add, et cetera, et cetera? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and sign it, but I officially won't call it done until I look at it again after a few hours. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, I'll come back and look and I'll compare the two pieces. I just realized there's a little pregnant over here. Maybe I'll fix that. It doesn't look like her. It looks like a belly. That's okay. So I'm signing it. I'm signing it, and then I'll let it sit. I'll let it sit for a minute or two, and I'll come back, look at it again. Just make a little touch up right here. Just a little bit. I know you can tell it's turning. It's okay. Whatever. Even a pregnant which would be just fine, right? You got it done, and thank you so much. I feel a little bad because this whole series I'm winging everything. I don't have a lot of time, as I've mentioned already many times. I don't have a whole lot of time on a daily basis right now. Things are busy, so I have to kind of push through these, and then something like this. Normally, I would practice a little bit. Maybe make a second. So I'll make the first one, then I'd make a second painting for practice, and then I would do the third one with you guys live. There's just a lot of complexity to this, and then the whole internet problems that we're having kind of at the beginning, and then what happened, the blow dryer broke, still things like that. I apologize about those just because it lessens the flow a little bit, kind of bogs things down a little bit. I know it can be a little frustrating, so I appreciate you guys all sticking through it. And then, but anyway, so just something so you guys know, I've kind of cobbled all these 10 sessions together in kind of a quick fashion, hoping to be able to give you guys some enjoyable sessions, and where you learn a little bit, get some fun painting experience. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a little tough just because of everything, but enjoyable nonetheless. I hope you're enjoying them too. I'm having a blast doing these. So this is probably the format for the series. There's going to be some hiccups with things. I've had to reschedule some stuff. I think. So some of you that might have been here for the very first one that I did about a week and a half or two ago, I had to reschedule the first session because my internet was so bad here at the house. Then I made some adjustments, got an extender, and then came back the second day, or when I rescheduled to the next day. Everything worked out well that time. So there's been little hiccups, but regardless, the show must go on, and I hope you guys stick around for the other sessions that are coming up. I don't know what those are just yet. I'll be posting those up over the next couple of days. I hope to have the whole series done by Wednesday. So that means I'm probably going to double up on some of those days. Instead of 10 paintings over 10 days, it might be 10 paintings over 7 days or 8 days or what have you. Okay, so, but anyway, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate you guys so much. I believe the next class, Angie, is going to be on Monday. Okay, next class is likely this Monday. If I can wing it or I do it tomorrow or even tonight, I don't know yet. I don't have a lot of time to prep, like I said. But, just be on the lookout. Make sure you're following the page. If you're not following the page, I'm looking at the images. It's so funny when I look at the picture on the screen, the two side by side. This one was better than that one. Now, it's funny because of my angle. I'm sitting over to the left of the image. So, that foreshortening, they don't look that different. There's a difference that I can see. But on camera, where the two are kind of facing forward, I can see. I go like this and stand right in the canvas, I can see it. So just little things that I've got to also kind of tighten up in my instruction. Stuff that's more complex like this, I need to be able to sit right in front of it to give you a more true to the original experience. Okay? But anyway, like I said, still lots of fun. Marjorie, thank you so much. You got it. Awesome. Make sure you post it in the group, okay? Thank you for joining today. On the dress, just little touches, little tiny touches. They're hard to see. The dress, I just kind of moved little tiny bit. It's really so nothing that you really tell too much. But you could take a little bit of your neon, just where the glow is. So the mist. So let's say that this is all glowing a bit, emitting maybe a bit of light. You might see it on the front edge of her dress. Okay, and then under the arms and things like that. Again, that's an extra detail that probably isn't necessary. If it's not glowing where it's actually emitting light, then you don't have to worry about that. If it's just green mist, then it's not necessarily producing any actual light. Okay. But all right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me once again. Stay tuned for the next sessions, and hope to see you guys again. Okay. All right, everyone. Have a great one. Bye bye.